Right, some recommendations and what I've spent my time listening to for the last year and a half. I still maintain that you should absorb everything that somebody like Damien Talks Money has to teach you. He'll teach you about passive investing, ETFs and index funds, and tax efficient accounts from a standpoint of you don't know enough to pick individual stocks and win. You'll probably get burnt, you'll probably lose money. So just go for a whole market return because that's good enough and grow your investments over time. Aim for long term horizon. But then if you get the bug, you'll want something more. And I found this decent community, and it all centers around this guy, Amit Kukreja. Um, Here's his channel, and for an analogy that you will understand, he is to finance YouTube what Academic Agent used to be to political YouTube, as in that he's this nexus that all these content creators orbit around, and he is focused on building his own brand as a reliable, trustworthy character to separate himself from this plethora of grifters and scammers out there. So he has nothing to sell you. Now, I admit 100% I could have been being sold a bridge myself the last year and a half or whatever, but he has his own investments, and to follow somebody, they have to be invested in it for it to be real, for you to connect with them anyway, and for it to actually matter to them, for them not to just be grifting. And if they're upfront with their investments, what they are invested in with their own money, and they tell you about it and they put it on the table and show you, then I like that. And he was an early Palantir investor. I think he got in at $8. And I managed to get in at $22, largely thanks to him. So, I mean, I owe him a great deal. But he does this market open and close show, and if you can just watch a bit of that every day, you'll passively absorb so much information as he runs through the movements in the market, the macro trends, looks at clips from CNBC and brings on different people onto the show, but largely covering tech stocks, growth stocks, fintech, all the things driving the market, covering earnings, reports, and all this kind of stuff. You learn so much passively that then you feel like you have enough information once you've done your own due diligence to make some of your own stock picks.
I think we have a green day. Quite frankly, I think we have a green week. This China stuff looks like it's getting resolved. Earnings are going to be pretty good. Earnings have already been phenomenal. As long as earnings can continue on this path, I don't see the reason for why the markets have to sell off this week. But then again, we also have had a really good September, August. We might continue to be in a Choptober versus Uptober. And although we might be having a little recovery right here in the pre-markets from some of the red last week, it might not have to continue. So we are going to see how this ends up playing out. But I do think, I don't know, dude, when you put the pieces to the puzzle together, China escalation shouldn't be that aggressive. Earnings growth should be good. We're getting a rate cut in 2 weeks. And the regional banking crisis, or whatever narrative the market wanted to come up with to tank stocks last week, is just not that real if you look at the data. So it seems like these dips are still opportunities, and now we just got to see how the market ultimately interprets it. All right, here we go. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It is Monday, October 20th. We got 11 days left of the month, 9:30 a.m. The stock market is once again open.
So he rings his bell. It's his trademark. And then he goes through all the various news items, all about various stocks. So I said there's this orbit of content creators around him. Tevis, Fun of Investing, does a show with Roy named Crossroads on YouTube. They do a show called Bootleg Weekly.
But yeah, I mean, there's not, if you want to be backed by fiat, there's really not much of an alternative right now. BRICS is certainly not that alternative. The yuan is not that alternative. The yen is not. So we're seeing it. There's an appetite for global dollars or dollars on a global scale. Of course, this helps on the treasury side too, because most of these are backed by 3-month treasury. So just one of those supply demand type things. And that's a scary thing for if you're an emerging power that wants, a piece of the action, wants to break up the petrodollar, because there's a lot of advantages that we've had because we're basically the global reserve currency.
Anyway, that's their bootleg weekly show. It's done on broadcast on Terrace and Crossroads channels. Then there's Tanner of Future Investing, another Canadian, who's a big fintech nerd. Fintech being financial technology companies, SoFi bull, Robinhood bull. He's managed to bag some interviews with like the likes of Vlad Tenev, CEO of Robinhood.
So over the very long run, I see Robinhood as a global company with customers all over the world. Anyone with a smartphone should be able to use Robinhood, and all of their financial assets and all of their transactions should be custodied at Robinhood and should go through Robinhood. And you know,
What a company Robinhood is. I'm so excited. Even though it's, fair warning, it's run up, it's expensive here. Robinhood is such an amazing company in the age of retail investing for the next decade. So I'm so excited about that. I'm invested. I wouldn't have done it if it hadn't been through the content that these guys had covered. I got in at Robinhood at $30. It's now at like $130. So, there's also Stephen Fiorillo. They all collab together, this group of people, but Stephen Fiorillo is a New Yorker with a personality like a typical New Yorker. He's one of the best rated financial bloggers on Seeking Alpha. Seeking Alpha is to finance what Substack is to politics. So he's just recently started his channel. He's only got 8K subscribers so far, but they're collabing together. This is the kind of content I'm drawn to, live streams where people just hash things out, talk about things, and you get to follow along.
But when I saw the clip with Hunter Lundy and Rogan, it was just freaking crazy. Like you could see behind walls, it was sick. What they're going to do with the military is going to be incredible.
Taking in a bunch of different which wasn't like, isn't that part of Palantir as well? Like that's kind of what they specialize in, is taking in data from like all different sources.
They're partnered with Palantir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Could Palantir even buy them?
No, probably not. I mean,
like $400 billion. They're like $7 billion.
Yeah, they could use their market cap, yeah, but I mean, realistically, they're not going to want to get into that.
I don't know if this is.
So here they're talking about Palmer Luckey's company, Anduril, which is a pre-IPO private company involved in building drones and AI stuff. So like that, you can pick up on early trends and things like that by just listening to people who are, investors looking for the next opportunity. It's good. It's good stuff, dude. Again, always do your own due diligence. Now, what about a more polished podcast? I like The Compound. If they have a decent guest on. So, like, recently they interviewed Tom Lee. I can't find it. But anyway, The Compound. I like The Compound. It's a good show.
So Deutsche Bank has this chart that shows a basket performance relative to the rest of the market. And they're showing the stocks with the most net call volume, which, as we know, is what the retail investors are buying. And it's also showing the most shorted stocks. Again, what retail investors are buying. And these things are on absolute fire. And it's hard to tell somebody this isn't rational. It's like, what, making money is not rational? It feels pretty rational to me.
By the way, I hate to play videos like this because YouTube will tell these people that I've played their video if they bother to look in their analytics tab. And they'll be like, who is this weirdo playing my video? What the heck, dude?
On its surface, is it totally irrational to be buying the most shorted stocks? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, they're not going to be the most high quality stocks. We know that.
I hate for retail investors to get fired up about some of these metrics.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the compound. I guess they can't be too upset if I'm recommending their videos. Anyway, it all started, by the way, when I invested in Rocket Lab. As you know, I invested early in Rocket Lab. I'm very humble about it. I'm very grateful about it. I've done very well. But once I'd done that, I wanted to follow some content about it. I looked for people commenting on the company. I found Vince is bullish, a literal investor in the company, making content about it from an investor point of view. And I remember watching him do videos back in the day with his head in his hands here, as his stock was down like $100,000, as the stock price was going from $4.20, $4.50 back down into the threes. But he was passionate and believed in the company. And yeah. So I found out that they do a show, that he does a show called Rocket Lab Weekly that I've now been watching for the last year, where these guys just talk about what's going on in Rocket Lab every week as they build out their neutron rocket, etc.
To be fair, Rocket Lab's not generally one to miss their earnings, though. Like,
yeah, I guess in with Rocket Lab, it's like if Neutron gets pushed down a little bit, like, or kicked down the road, maybe, but like I don't know. I think Rocket Lab's a unique situation in that, like, everybody holding is like they could have a poor earnings and everybody's gonna be like, yeah, so what? Neutron, when's that? Like, or they're looking ahead to next year.
By the way, we're jumping way ahead, but I just wanted to share this one. So Morgan Stanley came out with a bull case of 68 and bull case of 107 price target for Rocket Lab and a base case of 68. Now that we're speaking about valuations, and I'm always like curious how the banks get these valuations, right? And then
so here they're not just trying to pump their bags, they're critiquing the valuations that Morgan Stanley's given Rocket Lab here, price target of 107, and saying, what the fuck, bro? I mean, how did the banks even come up with a target like this? Rocket Lab is overvalued here. We all know it on a pure valuation point, but pure valuations don't always dictate stock price. But I'm not trying to pump Rocket Lab's bag. We all accept Rocket Lab is overvalued at this point. But anyway, this is what I've spent my time doing for the last year and a half. This is where I've absorbed the information that I've gathered, and it's all in the nexus around this guy. So that's it. Those are my recommendations. This is entertaining to me. I enjoy watching it. I think it's cool. It's fun, and and once you're invested, then you give it a lot of mind share. You enjoy it. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. And no, I don't need your boomer recommendations. Thanks very much. I've got enough stuff to watch. All right. Thanks for watching.